Alright, so today we're going to start with an easy scale to get you started. So what you first want to do, the easiest scale to learn is C scale. Now if you don't know, C is this note, and if you're just getting started you might not be able to easily locate that, so I'll give you a trick that helps you learn it. Essentially, look for the two black keys that are together, and then the C will be the white key just to the left of that. So not this one, that's an F, that's next to the three black keys. This is the C, which is next to the two black keys. So no matter where you are on the keyboard, that will be true. There's a whole bunch of C's. So here there's two, and then there's the C there. And then here there's two, there's the C there. Here there's two, there's the C there. So that's your middle C, that's where you want to start. So, getting to that middle C, you want to start with your thumb on there, and then you actually just move up your fingers to go to the second one, which is going to be D, and then the third one, which is going to be E. At that point you'll want to curl your fingers around to go to the F, and then continue up for the rest of your hand. Now this is the easiest scale to learn because it's all white keys, you don't have to remember where any sharps or flats are. But it's a really powerful one to learn because once you've learnt this, there's actually a formula you can use to learn any scale based off this. So learn one scale, learn all the scales. So practice that for a bit, see if you can get the hang of it, and then what you can actually do, you can pick any other note on the keyboard and follow that same pattern, and you'll be able to play that scale. But it does require a little bit of changing of your thinking because you've got to start not just thinking in terms of white keys, but in terms of black keys as well. So you may have, if you know much about music theory, you may have heard of this thing called tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. So what that is the way that you're counting up. So tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. Now you might be like, why is it a tone and a semitone? What's the difference? So a tone is actually where you skip one note and then go to the next one. A semitone is when you just go straight from one note to the other note. And you might be thinking, wait, hang on, didn't we go up to the next note? And yes, we went to the next note in the scale, but we actually skipped the black key. So when you're counting your tones and your semitones, you always want to be counting those black keys. So because the piano is laid out with the white keys as being the C major scale, it's actually a really easy way to, if you forget that tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone pattern, for you to actually be able to find it. So playing C and then D, you know you've skipped that black note, and then watching as you go D to E, you've skipped that black note again, so that's two tones. But then when you go to the F, you'll notice of course the sharp or flat, the black key there is missing, so that's a semitone. So now what you can do is you can work out any other key that you like. So let's say that we want to learn G next. So we go C, D, E, F, G. Okay, we know where G is. And you want to actually follow that same pattern. So you can actually, as you're learning a scale for the first time, you can even play along in the C scale alongside it. So you can go, okay. So we're just skipping one note in the middle there, and then we go to the next one, D and E, then A to B, and we're skipping another note there. Then you go from E to F, you go from B to C. Again, it's a semitone, but we can skip that note. And then F to G, C to D, it's pretty easy. And then again, we're going up from G to A and D to E. Now this is where it gets interesting because of course here in the C scale you skip over this note here, but there is no note in between that, so we're actually going to skip a white key just the same as it was any other key and go to that F sharp and then finishing on a G. So that makes the G scale so even if you follow that tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone, so tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. So yeah, when you're counting out those tones and semitones, make sure you're always considering your back keys. A lot of people when they're first getting started get a little bit confused and forget about the back keys because you are just trying to play a major scale, but they're very important. Even in the C scale, you've got to remember that you are skipping those black keys when you're working out those patterns. Now you can do that to apply to any scale on the whole keyboard, and it's a really easy way of, even if you've forgotten everything, you can figure everything out just from the C major scale. So it gets a lot more complicated, a lot more sharps, like for instance F sharp, if you go tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. It's actually, like most of it is actually sharps. So it's quite different. But as you practice each scale, and you want to practice each scale as much as you possibly can, you will get used to this fact and your hands will actually start to remember where each note is for you, so you won't have to be thinking in the back of your mind tone, tone, semitone or anything like that. That's just going to slow you down. That pattern is just for you to learn it for the first time, and then eventually your body will remember the keys for you, making it a lot easier. Alright, so now we'll just quickly go through what all the scales are so you can practice them at home and double check that you're on the right track. So we'll start with the C major scale. Then we go to C sharp major. And then we go to D major. Then we go to D sharp major, or E flat major as it's commonly known. And then we go to E major, my favourite scale. And then we go to F major. So with the F major scale, you will find that it's actually easier to play with your fingers 1, 2, 3, 4 instead of 1, 2, 3 and then skipping over, because your thumb's going to have to curl around, sort of around the edge. That's no fun to play. So you can just play with the 4th finger there, and then as you finish your scale, you'll finish on the 4th again instead of that little finger. That's just because you played an extra note down there. And then F sharp, which we've done. Then G major, which again we've done. And then we're gonna go with A flat major. Again, you don't want to curl around, so. And then we'll go to A major. Then we'll go to B flat major. A lot of people consider this the scariest key, but just don't consider it scary. It's alright once you get used to it. And then we'll go to B major. Too easy, and then you're back up to the C. So you can actually play each scale in turn like that, going round, and it's an easy way to learn each key and get your hands used to it. Once you've learned each scale, you can improvise a lot better. It's easier to read sheet music and it's easier to play melodies in each individual key. Your hands just get used to it, and basically music playing becomes a lot easier. So starting with the scales is a great way to start. There'll be many other exercises that you can do as well. So you might want to do a few scales, a few chords. Changing things up during your practice will help you to have more fun, which ultimately will help you to stick to learning, which is just as important as consistent practice, is actually continuing to love the hobby of music and continuing to want to do it, not just feeling like you're forced to do it, I think is really important. All right, thanks for tuning in.